Philip Seymour Hoffman's career began in theatre in high school before he attended New York University's Tisch School of the Arts. From his earliest screen appearances, he made a powerful impression. Performances in films including Boogie Nights and Happiness secured his reputation. But it was the remarkable and multifaceted portrayal of Truman Capote in 2005 that earned him a BAFTA award and an Oscar for Best Actor, demonstrating a versatility that few actors could aspire to. It's allowed him to excel as a real-life CIA agent in Charlie Wilson's War, or as a Catholic priest suspected by a nun of child abuse in Doubt. His most recent film, Jack Goes Boating, not only boasts another strong performance, it's also his first as director. Would you please welcome Philip Seymour Hoffman? So welcome to this BAFTA that isn't quite BAFTA. And born 1967, and but not into an obviously theatrical or dramatic family. In fact, your mother a lawyer. So was there any early indication? I mean, were you very keen on movies or theatre early on?
No, early on, I was just into baseball and stuff, and comics and stuff like that, and I had 3 siblings, you know, and that's really what I was into, you know, until I was about 12, and then my mom, who was very much into the theater at the time. There's a theater in my hometown called the Jiva Theater, and she took me to see All My Sons when I was about 12 years old, and it was one of those kind of religious experiences, I think, you know. I sat there and I couldn't believe what was in front of me, you know, and really my life changed on that day. My mom kept saying, go out for play, and I was like, I don't want to do that. And then I did, because there was this girl I thought was really cute, and it's a true story. I really just followed her in there, and auditioned, got this small part in The Crucible, and then I was just kind of around it, and I liked the scene, I liked the group that I hung out with, but I really liked the theater. And then so I started doing plays in high school and stuff, and that's kind of what happened. Then I ended up going to college for it.
You started off with a part in television, I think, sort of Law and Order or something like that.
I did an episode of Law and Order. I think that's the only TV gig I got. And then I was just doing theater and auditioning for films, you know, and I did this really obscure kind of indie called Triple Bogey on a Par 5 Hole with Amos Poe. It's kind of this underground indie guy in New York, and has been for a long time. And I remember that vividly, kind of like you remember everything when you're young for the first time vividly. It was like the first scene in a film. I still remember it quite clearly. And
what felt different about it then?
Nothing really, other than the fact that, you know what I mean, you grow up and you watch films, and it's a separate world. So I never thought I'd be a part of that, because I thought it was in some magical land somewhere. And so those first few steps kind of opened me up into it, you know.
So what was the turning point film? Was it Scent of a Woman?
Yeah, right after that, I auditioned like 6 times for Scent of a Woman from Marty Brest. And then I remember getting on the set of that, and that was a huge turning point. Because I started to work, and this director, who was a very talented guy, you know, he had faith in me. He was mentoring me, and as if I was one to be mentored, and I remember that feeling, and I remember that did change things. I thought, oh, maybe this is something I'll do, you know. But then Marty Brest kind of pulled me in. I remember I was walking down a hallway after I finished shooting, and he says, what are you going to, you know, so what do you think you're going to do? I go, I don't know, I guess I'll just find another job. And he's like, don't ever call it a job. And I remember that was a moment when I knew that he's like, you should not be doing that. Don't look at this as just a job. You know, things like that, and they stuck with me. And I thought, oh, maybe film is someplace I won't look at as a job, you know.
Well, we're going to spool forward a little bit. So, Boogie Nights, so let's set us up a little bit in it's the golden age of porn. So, in the San Fernando Valley, which I gather is also known as Silicon Valley.
Is it?
Well, I read that the other day, actually, in connection.
For that other silicone.
Yeah, other silicone, yeah. And your character, Scotty, is part of the crew, isn't he?
As a boom operator, I believe.
But in a sense, that's not so important as the fact that he has quite a thing for the star.
For Mark, yeah.
Yeah, for Mark Wahlberg,
Yeah.
Dirk Diggler.
Yeah, Dirk, yeah.
And in the scene we're about to see, Scotty's had probably a little bit too much to drink, and it's all about to become...
I don't think he's drinking anything, actually.
When you get by the lights, close your eyes. Okay? All right, just follow my voice. All right? Here, 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 here. Here, 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 here. Here, 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 here. Just keep coming. All right, open them. This is it.
It's cool.
Yeah. You want to get inside?
When did you get this?
Yesterday. Well, actually, I had it painted yesterday, so the paint might still be kind of sticky. Or...
This is great, man.
Yeah.
This is really great.
You want to go for a ride? Or...
Wait. Fuck, hell, how much time is that?
I'm sorry,
What
sir.
the hell is the matter with
I'm
you?
sorry.
Why did you do that, Scotty?
You look at me sometimes.
What?
I want to know if you like me.
Well, of course. Yeah, I like you, Scotty.
Can I kiss you?
Scotty, I don't...
Please, can I kiss you on the mouth?
No!
Please let me.
Scotty.
I'm really sorry. I didn't mean to grab you like that or scare you or
It's
anything.
all right, man.
Do you want to kiss me or
Scotty.
no?
What's the matter with you?
Forget it. I'm really drunk. Really, I am. I'm out of my head. I'm really wasted. Really, Dirk,
Yeah,
I'm
I
really just
understand
wasted.
that.
I'm crazy right now. I'm really crazy.
Do you want to go back
Yeah?
inside?
Do you like my car, Dirk?
What?
I mean,
Yeah.
because I wanted to, I wanted to make sure you thought it was cool, or else I was gonna take it back.
Oh,
Yeah.
it's great, Scotty.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year,
I
Scotty.
love you. I really
I
love
love
you.
you too, Scotty.
Okay.
Let's go back inside, okay?
All right. All right.
Awkward.
That's going to crop up again with a number of characters, isn't it? And Scotty is one of the more easily lovable ones, isn't he? But it's always for you finding that humanity that's really important.
Yeah, that's kind of our jobs as actors, is to defend everyone we play, and I've always said, in order to defend somebody, you have to show the worst side of them. It's kind of impossible to gain real empathy without actually showing the ugly thing, the awkward, ugly, uncomfortable thing.
Well, we're moving towards Todd Solondz's Happiness, which was a film which probably unsettled people probably almost more than anything else.
Yeah, it's a doozy.
Because Alan, your character
Yeah.
here, is making these anonymous, obscene phone calls to women. I mean, which is not necessarily the most attractive way to introduce a character.
No, not at all.
And we're going to see Alan when he's with his therapist.
But she doesn't even know I exist. I mean, she knows I exist. I mean, we are neighbors, we smile politely at each other, but I don't know I could ever really begin to talk to her. I mean, what can I talk about? I have nothing to talk about. I'm boring. I know. I've been told before, so don't tell me it's not true, because it's a fact. I bore people. People look at me and they get bored. People listen to me and they zone out, bored. Who is that boring person, they think? I've never before met anyone so boring. For her to see how boring I am.
Gallon of skim milk,
No.
dozen eggs, one of those disposable
For her to see how
cameras for the
boring I am?
weekend.
No.
I could stop at the 7-Eleven on the way home.
No.
I gotta get the dry cleaning for
Better I
Trish.
say nothing.
I gotta check Billy's homework and call Mrs. Mitchell about her appointment on Tuesday.
Paradoxically, one of the interesting things about Alan is that actually, in the end, he's the guy you're rooting for.
Yeah, I think out of that group that's assembled in this picture, he's probably the safest one to hang out with, for sure. Yeah, for sure.
Was there much of a reaction to Happiness that you remember?
Oh yeah, it was a huge reaction to that film. It was one of the best scripts I've ever read, still to this day, one of the best scripts I've ever read. It's just, as you can see from the dialogue was just fantastic. And it had its sense of humanity. He was pretty strong, even throughout how extreme those characters are and what they're doing. I mean, it really is heartfelt stuff.
So did you did you consciously want to be in films that had these sort of multi-strand narratives, or was that just the way that the work came about?
No, it's just the work it's the way it came about. You know, I've never been the type of person that says I want to play this kind of part or I want to do this you know, you just kind of go where you go. And
because you worked also with the Coens on The Big Lebowski and David Mamet and State and Maine, and again these are multi-strand films, but you made such a sort of strong impression. I mean, do you spend a lot of time preparing?
It depends on certain parts. Certain parts, you know, you need more time to have it sink in. You know, acting's all preparing for a part's all about asking questions. You know, and in certain parts you just keep asking and you never kind of get there. You know, because it's just there's so many different things, and so you need time. You need time to have it settle in because you can't force it in. It's this you understand something kind of quickly, you know, and you don't deny that and you go with it. You know, it just depends.
Can you give me an example of that?
Like Talented Mr. Ripley, I remember I very quickly had the idea that he you know was from that era. He's an expat from that era, you know, and I remember just keying into that very quickly. And the minute I keyed into that, there was one of the more I tried not to actually think about it too much and just let it be and that it kind of was a lot of fun, you know. And
so that's something you would discuss. I mean, in that case with Anthony Minghella, who directed, you know, you bring these ideas to people and then they go, "Yep, it's great," or you just bring it to the set.
Well, yeah, you either bring the idea or you just show them. Yeah, it's better to show a director than tell them, you know, because you tell them, you show them, give me time, you know. And but Anthony was into that. Yeah, he liked that.
Now we're going to again spool on to Capote, which for which he won both BAFTA and indeed the Academy Award. Now, playing Truman Capote around the time of writing In Cold Blood, based on these 1959 murders, on one level, quite a well-known figure, you know, public figure, but on the other hand, I mean, an enigma, complete mystery, tricky. Yeah,
People are, though, you know? I mean, everybody's an enigma, you know? You never can get to know anybody. It's crazy, isn't it? No matter how long you know them, you're still a little bit like, wait a second, you know?
But I mean, I haven't read a great deal about him, but in the stuff I have read, you know, some people absolutely adored him, and other people said he was this loathsome little creature, and it completely depends who you go to for the testimonies.
That's right. Yeah. There were people that really loved him, and then some very well-known people I remember who would call me after they would see a screening of it and say, "You made me feel for that bastard," you know, people that knew him, and they weren't joking. They were very serious. So, like, you did a good job because you made me feel for that bastard. I think that's something he wanted. I think he wanted people's love in a way that's, you know, insatiable. And that can create a very, very difficult human being.
And some people might have stumbled just at the voice. I mean, that bizarre voice.
Yeah.
So how did you set about that?
Well, I remembered the voice when I was a kid, like seeing him on television and stuff. But I really couldn't remember it well. I just knew it was really odd. And then I remember a tape of Capote, and I was like, oh, wow, that's unbelievable.
So do you think the voice was actually part of his way of getting attention? Do you think
Oh,
it was
I don't
a
know.
manifest?
I have no idea, but that's something I thought of. And that kind of starts to free you up because you start to have more confidence with it. And it leans you forward and pulls people in. And you start to see how that helps you actually do the voice.
We're now going to see a clip of Truman Capote holding court and demonstrating this voice. This is from 2005, Bennett Miller directed Capote.
He's sad and he's shy and he's terrified. They shotgun the entire family in the face. And I thought at first, I'm gonna be scared of these men. I'm gonna run right home. Actually, the brother in the family, Kenyon is his name, they'd placed a pillow under his head and then shot him point blank in the face. Almost as if they were putting him to sleep, and then shot him.
This is the start of a great love affair.
Yeah, Truman in love with Truman.
And the book I'm writing will return him to the realm of humanity. This is the book I was always meant to write.
Catherine Keener there as his loyal friend, Harper Lee.
That's right.
Loyal beyond the test of most people, I think.
Yes. Yes.
Does it feel any different? Do you feel a kind of particular responsibility or otherwise if you're playing a real person?
Not really, because that's not Truman Capote, you know, that's a character in a film, you know, and that really is true. It's not a documentary, and so you have to, like I said earlier, I think you have to kind of let that go and take license, you know, so you can actually affect the story and people can go in and watch it and watch what you've created. Because if you're too literal about it, I mean, think about it. It would kind of stop. It would halt. It wouldn't have, you know, life and imagination and spontaneity, you know. So, so that's, you know, something we thought about, you know.
But I mean, before, when something, for example, like playing the drag queen in Flawless came along, that was because there's a challenge and you wanted to do it. Or...
Well, the idea I remember when I was offered that part and I didn't say yes right away. It was shocking because I'd never been offered a part in my life without auditioning, and that was the first time. And I said, I can't say yes right now. I have to think about it. And that's still something that is interesting to me, because what that is, that's about the idea that I want to be someone else desperately, you know, that idea that I am not satisfied in my own life and body. And that's something that I think everyone struggles with through their life. Like, am I who I want to be?
So then you get to play this very bullish CIA agent in Mike Nichols' Charlie Wilson's War,
Yeah.
who is called Gus. I'm not going to go any further than that because in the clip we're going to see, he says his name so many times.
Yeah.
I'll let him do that. But I mean, in some ways, he's one of those guys who seems to have it all sorted, doesn't he? At least when we see him to start with. So he wouldn't, on the surface of it, appear to be quite as much of a challenge.
They're all challenges in some way or another, but he's, you know, he's more like me than a lot of them, actually. You know, I mean, I think people think, well, that's not, God, that's a big stretch for. Actually, it's not. What was a stretch was I had to wear these brown contact lenses. Remember that? With my eyes got infected. But it was, I mean, it was really the hair and the contact lenses. But the eye, you know, his wanting to control. You know, I'm like, you know, that was like, yeah, I know that. I don't have to look at that. Want everyone to do what he does? Yeah, I know that. You know, like his need, that he thinks he has the answer, and that he's right, and that he's, you know, convicted. I mean, that was like, you know, I mean, I went into that one a little easier than others, to be honest.
We're going to see the bit where we see the bit where actually the first time that we see him, and he's the forum is the whole issue of Afghanistan, and he's coming to have some pretty stern words with the Congressman, Charlie Wilson.
Yeah, send him straight.
The whole thing has changed. Get your diary. I'll show you.
Okay. No problem. Thank you. He should be here any moment.
Don't worry about me. I'm fine.
Good morning.
Good morning, Congressman. Welcome back.
Yeah, Marla.
Welcome back.
Suzanne.
Welcome back.
Who are you?
This is Gus Avocados. He's come up from Langley to bring you the information that you wanted.
Bonnie!
Yes, sir?
I said assistant deputy director or higher.
I know, sir.
No, assistant deputies don't come to the Hill without a subpoena. I'm the guy you want to talk to, Congressman, on the Afghan desk.
You're on the Afghan desk.
Yeah.
Well, I wouldn't be too proud of that. I just got back from there.
Oh, I know, and that's a hell of a flight, too. The 9 hours flying time against the jet stream, probably to stop in Brussels, plus the time difference. I'd be a little grumpy myself.
I ain't grumpy because of the plane.
We wanted to give you this. We know you like single malt.
Yes.
It's called Talisker, and it's mentioned in a Robert Louis Stevenson poem, The Scotsman's Return from Abroad. The king of drinks as I conceive it. Talisker, Isla, or Glenlivet.
Who are you again?
Gus Avocados.
Sure.
Have Bonnie come into this meeting.
Yes, sir.
So do you like to control things then?
Who doesn't? I mean, you know, he's a piece of work, you know. He's a piece of work. Great part, though. Great character.
Yeah, a really good film, actually.
Yeah, good character.
Works very well. But that controlling thing, I mean, you always obviously continued to appear on stage, but also to direct on stage. Then, so obviously that's partly the controlling thing, is it? Or is that an enabling function rather than a controlling function?
It's both, yeah, enabling, yeah. Directing is definitely an enabling thing, yeah.
And you played a theatre director in Charlie Kaufman's Synecdoche, New York.
Yeah.
So, but is that really a theatre director or a kind of metaphor for it? Because, given that the whole film is a huge metaphor as well.
I guess, yeah, story-wise, it's just loaded with metaphors, but I think if you look at it literally, which I think is much more interesting, that it's a pure subjective view of someone. You know, you're truly looking out from just this person's psyche, you know. And the more I thought about it like that, the more I thought that's really what was going on, you know. And because if you think about if someone could just be inside your head and be seeing, I mean, it would be like that movie, really would. And the more I thought about it, I saw how odd that experience would be. I see it as very literal, almost one of the more literal films I've done, because I think that that's true. And that, you know, is funny, you know, and that you can start to be so involved in your art that life becomes your art, and that you can't stop looking at your life except through what you do.
So in terms of when you were making the film, you just had to take everything
And
literally.
it's word, and that was all Charlie talked about it, you know. That's what he'd say. He says he comes out and a nuclear war has happened, and meet it, you know what I mean, it was all very much like that. And the more I looked at it, the more easier it was for me to get inside it, to be honest, you know. That, you know, the simple, you know, when he goes to see his daughter when she's dying, that it's as if he's walking with her, holding her hand. That's really what's happening, and that he can't comprehend it. He can't comprehend it, you know, and that, you know, so that's how I took it, you know.
Well, the scene we're going to see is with you and Samantha Morton, and Samantha Morton plays Caden's assistant. Well, she's in the box office, isn't she, to start with? And she's assistant, but he has...
Mad in love with her, yeah.
Madly in love with her, clearly, and has a particularly attractive way of communicating it in this clip.
Yeah. Here's what I think theater is. It's the beginning of thought. It's the truth not yet spoken. It's what a man feels like after he's been clocked in the jaw. It's love. All its messiness. You know, I want all of us, players and patrons alike, to soak in the communal bath of it, the mikveh, as the Jews call it. Because we're all in the same water, after all. You know, soaking in our very menstrual blood and nocturnal emissions. This is what I want to try to give people.
Okay. Salad. Here's your soup.
Thanks. Thank you.
Enjoy.
What are you doing?
Salivating. Biofeedback training. So I was wondering if you'd help.
In your box office?
No, as my assistant.
I'm not sure I can work with you, Caden. I'm kind of angry.
I just want to normalize it. Think we'd have a lot of fun together.
It is that line, it's that I think we'd have a lot of fun together.
A lot of fun together.
You know that when somebody says that, it always means just the opposite.
I remember when I watched it the first time, and I know a lot of people had a hard time with the film. And I remember I watched it the first time I was by myself, and I knew the film, you know, and I was like watching it, and I get to the end, and you know, and the voice says die, and I was like, oh, he dies. You know, I remember, like you idiot, you know, like of course he dies, but I was like shocked, you know, and it's that thing, yeah, we will die, you know, and that his awareness of that, and so all the other things were just there.
Moving on with mortality, then you worked with Sidney Lumet, the late Sidney Lumet, on Before the Devil Knows You're Dead.
That's right.
So obviously you're a man with huge experience of filmmaking going back decades and decades.
Yeah.
So is it, I mean, to work with somebody who knows so much about film and has worked in so many different genres, is there something distinctive about that?
Yeah, that was an incredible experience. I'm very lucky to have gotten that opportunity. I mean, I really can't tell you that it's the last film he made, and that's just sitting Lumet, and it was just to work with somebody who had such a sure hand and really knew how to talk to actors in a way that was just to the point and sharp and insightful and create the dramatic event so well, and because you rehearse for 2 weeks too, and in that time he's just kind of feeding you all this stuff that's just helping and helping and helping.
So do you only work with directors who give you plenty of rehearsal time?
No, that's not always the case. I try to work with directors where I was telling you where they, where it's not just a job. You try to work with people that are, there for a reason, and it's personal to them somehow.
So working on Doubt with John Patrick Shanley, I mean, this was his creation, wasn't it, right from the beginning? It's his idea, his play, and then he directs, and this is his first feature. And you have this fantastic cast, which is you and Meryl Streep.
I've worked with Meryl a few times. She's the best there is, and she's keeping that conversation going. She's keeping that tension going. She's keeping that alive. And I just think that's a lot of fun with her, to be honest. And that happened a lot on this film.
So does that mean that no two takes are similar?
Never. It's impossible.
So you're always just slightly ratcheting it up a little bit, or?
Oh, no. In fact, you might be ratcheting it down. Yeah. It's not about going up. It's about getting in. Yeah. It's about getting in, and that's the thing. She can't get in. And I can't get in either, and so you can't. That's what creates the tension,
But do you both keep in character between these takes, or do you just keep yourself?
No, she would knit, and I would sit across from her thinking how to make her laugh, like you do when you're attracted to someone. She's a wonderful woman. A great time with her.
And now we're going to go towards this Jack Goes Boating that you've directed, that was itself originally a stage play, which you were back in, when were you first in it?
It was 2007, 6, something like that. I can't remember. Long time.
But at that stage, there was no suggestion that it would be a film?
No, we were just doing the play, and it was doing pretty well in New York there, and then at Big Beach, the production company came and saw it, and they wanted to make it into a film, so they approached us. That's kind of what happened.
So let's talk about Jack a little bit, because Jack is, and what's fascinating about Jack is he's a really intelligent character, but he's not intelligent in an obvious, flashy, verbal way.
No, I think he's just probably one of the most genuine characters I've ever played. He's just genuine. There's just nothing about him. It's just, I mean, that's what the kind of inward quality of him is. It's just a genuineness to him. He just doesn't speak or do anything unless it's just true. You're watching somebody who meets somebody, falls in love with her, and says, I'm going to be with her.
Well, in the scene we're going to see, Jack goes to visit Connie, who has unfortunately been
beaten up on the subway.
Been beaten up on the subway.
Yeah.
We'll come around.
I think she actually, well, I'll tell you.
Yeah. Well, okay, we'll see the clip. But he comes, and it's caused him, he's taken a lot of time to think about whether he should visit her.
Brought a friend.
This is so sweet.
Koala bear from Australia.
Oh. Shouldn't you be working?
Airport's closed in blizzard conditions. So.
You gotta be careful driving.
Yeah.
I look forward to when winter's over.
Yeah, it's not summer for a while. We could do something before summer. When when you feel better.
Okay.
Maybe, I don't know, dinner. When you feel up to it. A big feast. Just have too much of everything.
No one has ever done that for me before.
I hope you're a good eater.
No one has ever cooked for me before.
Cooked?
No one has before.
Well, cooking.
That'd be nice.
No one's ever cooked for you.
My mom, yeah.
Your mom. I only have a basement at my uncle's. Kind of a hot plate.
Oh, no, it's okay.
No. Clyde and Lucy have a kitchen, so I'm gonna cook for you.
A dinner party?
No. Yeah. Small.
For you, having to direct and then get in there, I mean, not just, it's not just a part, it is the central part. Hard? Different from directing a play, which you might also be in?
Yeah, I didn't like it much. I don't think I'll do that again. It's pretty, you want somebody else, to tell you what to do and to challenge you and to push you.
So, but you would like to direct more?
I would, yeah, I would.
Okay, thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you.